We're here at Rippavilla, another video here on the Battle of Spring Hill. But before we get started talking about General William Bate's division and their encounters that night, we're going to go back just a little bit, give some context. Confederate General John Bell Hood's Tennessee campaign is well in progress at this point. He's moving 2 infantry corps under General A.P. Stewart and General Benjamin Cheatham. Cheatham is in the lead. He's got 3 divisions under his command. 2 of them we're going to talk a little bit about here. But what's happening behind me is the federal column of General John McAllister Schofield's army is advancing from Columbia to Spring Hill. Throughout the night on the 28th into the morning of the 29th of November, John Schofield has started to piece together that Hood's army is actually flanking around to the east, crossing over the Davis Ford to get up the Duck River all the way up here to Spring Hill to cut off Schofield from Nashville. Well, what's happening is these 2 armies are moving together, and right over here at around 11:30 in the morning, General George Wagner's division is put in position to guard the town of Spring Hill. He's escorting the wagon trains forward. That works out fine until Nathan Bedford Forrest's Confederate cavalry arrives that afternoon. But Wagner's division, only about 5,300 men, are able to hold their ground and hold that position with the support of the Federal artillery here in town. As Forrest pulls away, the battle isn't quite over. At 3:45 in the afternoon, just behind us over there on the Rally Hill Pike, comes those 2 Confederate corps, Benjamin Cheatham and A.P. Stewart. Cheatham again is right out front. His leading division is General Patrick Cleburne. He's going to move off of the Rally Hill Pike, what is today Kedron Road, moving towards the town when he is going to collide with the 3rd Brigade from General Wagner's division, brigade under the command of Brigadier General Luther Bradley. There'll be about a sharp 30-40 minute fight there. It's going to leave a few hundred men killed or wounded and captured, including Bradley himself. Bradley's so badly wounded that they actually rush him off to Nashville. But what seems like is going to happen is that this Confederate push towards Spring Hill is going to turn and block the pike like Hood had intended. Those had been his orders all throughout the day to General Cheatham and his division commanders. Move towards the Columbia Pike. Take the pike. Cleburne begins his attack, pushes Bradley back, and he's stalled by the artillery. While all that is happening, while Cleburne's division is being hotly engaged and while they're starting to make that push towards town, General William Bate's division comes right over behind us through this field, coming to a rest somewhere off in the distance over there, maybe about 100-200 yards away. From that spot though, he's only, as he puts in his report, within 200 or 300 yards from the road. His objective had been to block the Columbia Pike, and he isn't moving there by himself. In fact, while Cheatham is occupied moving with Cleburne's attack, General John Bell Hood himself comes here and personally puts Bate over in this direction. Now he starts to move towards the road, and as he stops, he throws forward a battalion of sharpshooters, the 4th Georgia Sharpshooters under the command of Major Theodore Caswell. Caswell's men occupy a position right over there where today Highway 31 and the Saturn Parkway almost intersect each other. Caswell and his men could command the road by fire, meaning that from their position they would be able to fire onto the Columbia Pike at anything that's moving towards them. Wagner, sensing that there is some pressure down here even further, he sends the 26th Ohio. There's not a lot of men in the 26th Ohio, maybe about 120 or so. The 26th Ohio is going to become engaged with these skirmishers, and as this is progressing, this action is heating up, Bates starts to move towards the road, starts to put together more men to attack the road, and starts to make that sweep towards the pike. But just as he's getting ready to move towards the pike, he receives a message from General Cheatham's staff. The message tells him, as nightfall is coming and it's getting darker, we're getting closer and closer to sunset, this whole area would be consumed in darkness. Cheatham tells Bate to fall back and to locate the left flank of General Cleburne's division. Bate is hesitant. At first, he doesn't quite know what to make of the order, so he sends a member of his own staff to go and find Cheatham and tell him, we are right here by the pike. The 26th Ohio, having been sent down here by General Wagner to protect the wagon trains from the south, is going to engage in a really sharp, short firefight with Caswell's battalion of sharpshooters. But what Bate becomes aware of is that now there is another presence of Federal infantry, some Federal force, moving off to his left, to the south of his line. As he starts to make preparations to engage this threat, Lieutenant Shell from General Cheatham's corps shows up, and Cheatham gives him orders. Not only is he supposed to halt right where he is, about 200 or 300 yards away from the pike, but he is then supposed to double back and locate General Cleburne's division's left flank, pulling him even further away from the road that he was supposed to capture. Bate's taken off guard, and immediately he's going to send one of his staff members back to go and check with Cheatham, just to verify the orders and let him know what's happening here. Cheatham responds to Bate by saying that he needs to fall back or report under arrest. Bate is a division commander. Cheatham is his immediate superior, but Hood is the army commander. Who's he supposed to follow? Whose orders supersede whose? In any case, he begins to pull his division back. And as his men start to pull away from the pike, right here to the south of us, John Schofield with the 124th Indiana and the 7th Ohio Cavalry, his escort, start to slide right past. Thomas Ruger's division is shortly there behind. As Bate pulls away, one of the staff officers from General Hiram Granberry's brigade in Cleburne's division, his name is Captain Richard English, starts to wander off to the left of Cleburne's division. But instead of wandering into Bate's men, he wanders into Colonel Spaulding's 23rd Michigan that's taken prisoner. And when Spaulding brings him to Stanley's headquarters at Ferguson Hall right up the road, Stanley recalled that English was, quote, very saucy and confident that the rebels would triumph in the morning. There would be a triumph here at Spring Hill, but it would not come on the side of General John Bell Hood and his Confederate army here. Bate doesn't go quietly though. Now as Bate is pulling back, he tells Cheatham that someone has to come up on his left. They need to have some formation to guard his left flank. And what Cheatham will do is, on loan to him is the division under Major General Edward Johnson. Johnson's division is going to come into position just out in this field, and that's where they will camp for the night. Throughout the evening, they're aware that there is some formation moving on that road out there. You have to think about these men and the position that they're in at that time. So often, it's very easy for us to say, well, they could have blocked the pike at any time. They had marched close to 18 miles on rugged terrain. Many of them had been engaged throughout the afternoon. They were tired. They were exhausted. They were hungry. They were weary. If they went to sleep in this field, who could tell what could wake them up? But certainly what we know is that Johnson's men will hear and see things throughout the night. Johnson himself will try and ask Benjamin Cheatham for permission to make an attack, but Cheatham, and I quote, remonstrated against night attacks. So Johnson never makes a move onto the pike. And by never blocking the road and allowing the Federal Army to continue north towards Franklin would all lead to what would happen the next day. At 4 p.m. on November the 30th, 1864, these two armies collided again. And after about 5 hours of fighting, as the sun rose on December the 1st, it would reveal about 10,000 casualties, killed, wounded, and missing. The Battle of Spring Hill, what doesn't happen here that night, what doesn't happen when Bate is so close to the road, what doesn't happen as Johnson can hear and see things throughout the night, as he's pulled away and as this formation halts, will allow what happens the next day. And Dick English would be wrong. There would not be a great triumph the next morning. Instead, there would be a crushing defeat.